Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter Sandwich. Huge thanks to Sandwich and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Sandwich reached out asking for a Gods tribal list led by Sisay Weatherlight Captain, and I was more than happy to oblige. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Sisay Weatherlight Captain is a 3-mana 2/2 legendary human soldier who gets bigger with each color of legendary permanent we have on board. Additionally, we may pay Wooburg to search our library for a legendary permanent card with converted mana cost less than Sisay's power, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle our library. So Sisay gets bigger the more legendary permanents we have on board, and can search for higher mana value permanents the bigger she gets. But to start, we can only get a 1 mana value permanent. Additionally, Sandwich requested God Tribal, specifically the enchantment gods from Theros. He loves the constellation arts for them, and who can blame him? He also wanted the deck to be functional and quick, so he requested that there be no budget for the deck list, to the point of adding dual lands. Now, if you don't own duals, feel free to replace them with the tapped type lands from Dominaria United, or the typed snow duals from Kaldheim, and save yourself a few $1,000s. But remember, gods aren't exactly the cheapest tribe, and sometimes making a deck with a silly concept functional requires pieces that aren't exactly cheap. I do make budget decks on this channel, but when a patron requests a deck list, I follow their request. Now, before we get to our deck list, we should keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, 1 sudden I win card. Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, the World Tree, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, Wooded Foothills, Windswept Heath, Marsh Flats, Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs, Arid Mesa, Misty Rainforest, Tundra, Underground Sea, Badlands, Taiga, Savannah, Scrubland, Volcanic Island, Bayou, Plateau, Tropical Island, Hallowed Fountain, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Stomping Ground, Temple Garden, Godless Shrine, Steam Vents, Overgrown Tomb, Sacred Foundry, Breeding Pool, 1 Plains, 1 Island, 1 Swamp, 1 Mountain, and 1 Forest. Smothering Tithe, Mirari's Wake, Burgeoning, Exploration, Azusa Lost But Seeking, Conduit of Worlds, Crucible of Worlds, Ramen-Up Excavator, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, 3 Visits, Nature's Lore, Farseek, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Crop Rotation make up our mana ramp package. Rhystic Study, Enlightened Tutor, Idyllic Tutor, Zur the Enchanter, Maelstrom Nexus, Joyra Weatherlight Captain, Calyx Destiny's Hand, Isika God of the Tree, Sterling Grove, Vampiric Tutor, and Demonic Tutor. Assassin's Trophy, Anguished Unmaking, Dovin's Veto, Teferi's Protection, Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, Heliod's Intervention, Ashiok Dreamrender, Leyline of the Void, and a Braid are how we interact with our opponents. Damn, Supreme Verdict, and Blasphemous Act are here to reset the board. Privileged Position, Raised by Giants, and Leyline of Anticipation help our deck but aren't exactly part of the core. Athreos, God of Passage, Ifara, God of the Polis, Erebos, Bleak-Hearted, Erebos, God of the Dead, Heliod, God of the Sun, Heliod, Sun-Crowned, Iroas, God of Victory, Karametra, God of Harvests, Keranos, God of Storms, Clothis, God of Destiny, Krufix, God of Horizons, Mogus, God of Slaughter, Nylea, God of the Hunt, Nylea Keen-Eyed, Phoenix, God of Deception, Perforos, God of the Forge, Thassa, Deep Dwelling, Thassa, God of the Sea, and Xenagos, God of Revels make up the core of our deck. Now that we have our deck list, we should compare it to our checklist. 53 mana sources split between 38 lands and 15 pieces of ramp. A little heavy, but there's a reason for that. 12 pieces of card advantage, counting our commander. 11 pieces of interaction. 3 board wipes. 3 pieces of graveyard hate in Leyline of the Void and Ashiok Dreamrender. 1 sudden I win card in the World Tree. Let me explain. The whole point of this deck is to activate World Tree, putting all of our gods onto the battlefield at the same time. This should be enough to make most of them into creatures, thus triggering Perforos, God of the Forge. 20 gods means 40 damage, which should be enough to win. But just in case it's not, we should have enough graveyard hate combined with enough large creatures to use Phoenix's ability to just mill everyone out of existence. On top of that, our gods are all indestructible, so we can just board wipe to our heart's content, blow up everyone's creatures, and just swing out with the whole pantheon. Now, this isn't a CEDH deck by any means, though it does have the budget of one. Sandwich wanted something fairly consistent and fun, and didn't care about budget. He'd been trying to find a way to make God Tribal work for a long time. After he'd test run this deck a few times, he told me he was quite happy, so my work here is done. Do you have a God's Tribal deck? What about a god in the command zone? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Phoenix Device, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Josh, Sean, OT, Richard, Pob Zombie, Mark, Danny, Sandwich, Alex, Bryce, and John. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos often, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.